I watch episode 15 of Pokemon every year because I watch every episode of Pokemon every year. In episode 15, Battle Aboard the St. Anne, there are many battles aboard the St. Anne. Fresh off of their victory against America, three unaccompanied miners wander along an open port when two attractive, charming strangers invite them to travel across international waters. Lured by the lull of luxury, Ash and friends board the cruise ship the St. Anne. The sea is calling. Fun for all. Trafficking. The first battle aboard the St. Anne is between a youngster and a gentleman, between a Starmie and a Raticate. The rat wins, violently. Raticate really puts the monster in Pocket Monster, and the gentleman really puts the master in Pokemon Master. He looks like someone who's no stranger to ships crossing the Atlantic. This unnamed southern gentleman, this antique of the antebellum, wears sunglasses indoors, a bow tie with a popped collar, a top hat, and brandishes a cane. Not a mere walking stick, a rattan cane. A physical disciplinary tool used to inflict childhood trauma. At the sight of this, Ash eagerly battles the gentleman aboard the St. Anne. Ash's Butterfree vapes all over Raticate, and nearing victory, the gentleman intervenes, declaring this second battle aboard the St. Anne a draw. Elsewhere on the ship, one of the traffickers wanders along the open deck when an attractive, charming huckster invites him to invest in fish. Cryptocurrency, a Ponzi scheme. Fishing. Whilst eating their first real meal since their journey began, Ash and friends are approached by the unnamed gentleman and his unnamed mistress, who, under the guise of building friendship and community, manipulates Ash into a Pokemon trade. Ash's Butterfree for his Raticate. The gentleman's endearing demeanor and drawling dialect distract from his brutish ideology and unearned authority. Ash, whose actual friends don't care about him either, is further coerced into this major life decision. Ash battles peer pressure aboard the St. Anne. Peer pressure. The trading process is not a simple exchange of Pokeballs. It involves an auction block with VCR controls. This display of friendship is a slow and solemn process. It's not clear if their Pokemon are even aware of what's happening. Their Pokeballs pass through tubes as their silhouettes slide across a CRT screen. The music that plays during this scene is somehow even more disconcerting than what I use. This is the first episode in which we see the attainment of Pokemon outside of catching 'em all, outside of the equal agreement of companionship between Pokemon and trainer. This is the first time we see the true value of Pokemon, so easily bought, sold, and traded. That's this week's theme, I guess. A fool and his money are soon parted. A fool and everything that he has of value to others are soon parted. The only thing that doesn't part from a fool is regret. Ash ponders alone, holding his new Raticate over the edge of the ship, tempted to loosen his grasp until a witness arrives. The trafficker searches for a refund, his diamond hands slipping as well. In the face of greed, it is foolish to be hopeful, trusting, or confident. Pokemon cards were banned at my school because of injustices like these. No friendships bloomed from the manipulation of elementary schoolers. Any hopes of community were shattered. The resulting trauma was a reminder to never trust anyone again. With all these subplots exhausted, the main trafficking scheme reaches fruition. This final act of avarice is done without further deceit. It is a theft exclaimed clearly, and thus easily fought against together. Pure plain unfiltered greed against a true community of those seen only for their monetary value. This is the final battle aboard the St. Anne. Capitalism versus communism. Pokemon working together, in pyramid formation instead of pyramid schemes, holding hands in a circle, the entire Vape Nation. Ash, eager to conform and blocking out his most recent trauma, calls for his own Butterfree, but Raticate emerges, presenting itself to its new master for the first time, who is confused and disappointed by its mere existence. There are no other Raticates on the ship, no other Rats nor Catherines on this luxury cruise ship. Raticate is alone, and for its uniqueness, it is left unwanted again. Ash calls for Pidgeotto instead. Together, they create a tornado in the enclosed environment by freezing midair. They defeat the Poke traffickers, but also the structural integrity of the ship. As the ship begins to sink, rather than escape to safety, Ash approaches the gentleman and begs to renege. He would rather go down with the ship than own Raticate for a single moment longer. The gentleman, whose mistress was never seen again, agrees. Unlike real life, here there is a rewind button, but that's not the button he presses, though, because they just reused the same animation as before. They do that a lot. Butterfree returned, Raticate forever unwanted. Who's that Pokemon? Nobody cares. Down the ship does go, and fate still lies in the loose hands of fools. This last scramble leads them below deck, where the reality of classism necessary to further the facade of luxury is clear. In the kitchens, there's a fish on the counter, left out in the open in haste before their slaughter. On a sinking ship, the fish are the only ones with a happy ending. The captain of this ship of swindlers is the first to abandon his vessel, ignoring the fates of every man, woman, and child. The sense of community established moments ago dissipates, overwhelmed by the instinct to survive at all costs. The open water urges all to act selfishly. Now adrift, they can only watch as capitalism itself descends into the depths. A sunk cost. Both fools and their friends suffer from the consequences of their regretful actions. Nobody gets rich quick. Nobody gets rich slowly either. Nobody gets rich at all. Wealth doesn't move. It just sinks us all further down. The battles aboard the St. Anne may have ended, but the battle between ideologies rages on. To be continued.